Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important. Gentlemen, there are men who travel. They're just N19s with passports, passport pookies. There are men that are of one of the stripes or another. They're actually a sort of reBlacktriate. They may be pro-black, truly pro-black, and they go somewhere that's for our people, if not the continent itself. There are people that they're actually passport bros, and I mean they're connected to passport bros, and they understand what the tenets are, and they refuse to violate them. I actually tipped my hat to Austin Holloman when he said, "Okay, you know what? I'm not a passport bro." I thought, well, I mean, it's up to them how the passport bros feel. So I didn't really know how to take it, but I later on realized that if you know that there's a tenet involved to be something and you're not going to commit, you admit that you aren't of that particular stripe. I'm SYSBM. I did not memorize the tenets only because, frankly, I did read them, but I saw that I was not, it was my routine to not violate them, so I didn't memorize them. And it was Dwight Hayes that said, yeah, you fit the definition of SYSBM. There are passport gang, IBMOR. They have the tenets. They got the codes. I am proposing a code for the BMPTs in general. Actually, for those of the union. You see, BMPT is black male passport traveler. That's the description, but the union of BMPTs. For the UBMPT, I am proposing a code that would not have as many tenets in the code, but yeah, it would not have as many tenets in the code. But what's funny about it is that I'm not saying to violate the code of one's particular stripe. But this is something that's going to be needed so that when someone does go and act a mother cuss word fool and people start looking at us and saying, is that one of yours? We can say, nope. Racially, yes, but he's not one of the stripes of the UBMPT. In other words, he may have a passport from the government, but he does not have he does not have a UBMTP, Union of Black Male Travelers passport. You see, UBMPT is Union of Black Male Passport Travelers. BMPT means Black Male Passport Travelers, but like I said, I don't necessarily mean literally just any black male with a passport and traveling. It's a passport pookie. And I have made mention of the BMTP, black male, or the UBMTP, Union of Black Male Travelers passport. I've made mention of that, a passport for that union. But if you want to know more about that, you're going to have to just go to Buy Me a Coffee. You're going to have to go there. Or you could subscribe on the Passport Bros app. And I mean, you go in, you set up an account, whether it's free or paid, but you subscribe to me within that. And my subscriptions are the same in both. They cost the same in both. Those are the ways you can find out what these acronyms, or well, what the passport really means and more about it. What is this passport? But getting back to this, you must understand that we would need a way to be able to say, okay, this so-and-so is, yeah, that's okay, yeah. You ask me if I know him. All right, maybe I personally don't know this particular name you stated, but at least I know who to ask. Okay, wait a minute. This guy over here was found drugged and gone, no longer with us, and you're asking me, or you're rather telling me that I should be ashamed because he's taking an L. Wait a minute, hold up. Where was his passport? Well, they stole his passport. Okay, you mean the one issued by the UK government, or the one issued by Antigua, or the one issued by the US government? Yeah, okay. But what about the other passport? They wouldn't have stolen that. What other passport? So you don't know? That means they didn't find it, which means he was not one of us, any of the stripes. We need something like that. But one of the things is not only that which I mentioned. I talked about that from Buy Me a Coffee. That's paid. My subscribers know. But I'm talking right now about a code. And one of the first tenets in the code that we need is refuse to knowingly contribute to the deterioration of an environment that would affect the locals or other BMPTs. Refuse to knowingly contribute to the deterioration of an environment affecting the locals or subsequent BMPTs to that same environment. That must be the first tenet. That means that if you understand how the economy works, you negotiate housing prices. You don't simply just go and contribute in a way to driving the housing market and price up. You don't do it. If you're going to go somewhere and you're going to live and buy property, you ask somebody that knows what is a fair price for a particular property, so that you don't start making housing unaffordable for people that are already from there. We don't do that. That's not how we roll. Now, some people might do this unknowingly, but if you don't know, you don't know. The tenet I am proposing is that you do not knowingly do that. You don't go there and help to expand the skin trade. Some dudes are going to go and pay for play. I don't recommend you do it. I'm a Muslim. But what I am going to say is that there are guys that will go somewhere and they will just throw money at the women in the skin trade. The problem with that is that then gives them more money than the traditional women. And we're not here to financially reward being loose and promiscuous. We don't go somewhere and contribute to an environment that causes 304s to win over traditional women. That's already been the case in the States, but I'm not going to sit up and say that we knowingly contributed, men of any race. Really, I'm going to say that men were ignorant and did not fight back enough. We were too easy. Y'all know how that goes. One of the reasons why I've said that we need to make meaningful friendships with local men is because that gives you insight into how your actions can be a positive contribution to the environment. If you're there and you just paying for play, which I don't recommend, you still have the ability to contribute to the positivity of the local environment in other ways. If you cannot do this sustainably, then don't try to move there. Visit. These are things we need to know. It's important. I want us to avoid at all cost screwing about these environments, messing these environments up in any way, form, or fashion. And if you can't make them better, that's one thing. But, when we go from the countries in which we were raised to other nations, we can do things unknowingly. But then there are other times we just simply would not care. And I know most brothers ain't trying to go somewhere and intentionally screw things up. But the tenet is to not do that. That's one many of us already are not willing to knowingly break anyway. So this should be easy. But I say this so that we will articulate this out loud to each other, so that instead of it being an understood instinct that most black men have, it will be a conscious thought. Because then what are you actually going to do? Well, you're going to go above and beyond that tenet. You're going to start actually looking for ways to be of a positive contribution. Behaviorally speaking, I have experience with that. But I'm not going to talk too much about it, because I don't want to sound like I'm bragging about my good behavior and character. I'm not. What I'm going to boast about is the locals' appreciation of the intention. Here, they do appreciate a good intention. Now, they may not always be like this with each other, but they are like this with foreigners. If you are from somewhere else and they can tell that you have a good intention to contribute positively to the environment, they appreciate that. I give them that. That's where I live. I was once when some of the men were gathered around and cracking jokes about marriage and certain dances that go along with that. There were kids that were playing outside. I closed the window because I was being careful that the kids did not hear this, because they're kids. They had not thought of such. Now, they would not knowingly corrupt a kid's mind, but they just hadn't thought about it. And I did. And so, you know what? They actually appreciated this. And they said, that's very civilized of you. Later on, one of these men had a conversation with the lady on the phone, said, yeah, blacks' culture is very high. He described me as being high cultured. That was the closest Arabic translation that I can find. That lady and I later tied the knot. When the government ruined the marriage, she did not remarry. I'm simply saying that they appreciated the intention. My former students have understood that I'm trying to have a positive effect on them. They are now telling other students, if you want to cheat, don't sign up for Black's class. Just go ahead and leave, if that's what you want to do. But if you want to be ready for the core classes you're going to take after his class, stick with him. That goes a long way. Just the intention and that effort does go a long way. There will be more tenets I will introduce or propose to you all to come. Sometimes I just put them on YouTube like I'm doing this one. Other times I'll put up a link to the Passport Bros site. Not buy me a coffee unless I make it free for everybody. Some things I may make free there, but probably not. But I will make some of them only available on the Passport Bros app. You can only get it, some of the tenets as I propose them, only on the Passport Bros app. You don't, whether you get a paid membership or a free account on the Passport Bros app is up to you. But I'm not going to require that you subscribe to me on the Passport Bros app, just that you get an account and then you'll be able to see some of those links, or those videos. Now, that I do have videos on the Passport Bros app that you will only see if you subscribe to me, and that's 10, whatever, independent of whatever you pay to have your account at Passport Bros app. They're free options, but rather, if you pick the $5 a month option at the Passport Bros app and you subscribe to me, you're still paying 10 to me. Passport Bros app will get their cut. But when I propose these tenets of the reBlacktriates code or the BMPT code, then you just have to have an account with Passport Bros, paid or free, doesn't matter. You don't have to subscribe to me. You just get on there and look for Black Mind on there, and that's it. And that's so that you get the accounts. But I'm not going to have any of these tenant proposals behind the paywall unless that's actually somehow going to be better for the environments to which you will travel for both you and the locals. That would be the only way I put it behind a paywall. And I don't know of a situation like that. But this is the first one. Refuse to knowingly contribute to the deterioration of an environment affecting either the locals or other reBlacktriates that will visit there. There are brothers that are going places and they don't really understand certain things. They just know that they're sick and tired of what's going on in the States, and that's understandable, but they're not necessarily ready to be a positive contribution where they go. And so they will go somewhere and they think that, women, the local women having box braids and using the N-word and watching trifling shows and listening to trifling music with trifling messages is embracing Black culture, and they feel welcome. And, oh yeah, they dig Black men. No, it's not how that works. Because these things are not Black culture. Box braids, cornrows, well, yeah, in some parts of Africa you have that. But the triflingness on some of the sitcoms and series, the trifling messages and some of the trifling music, and the use of the N-word, these are in 19 culture, not Black culture. The twerking out in public. Don't think that because your girlfriend will twerk out in public that you got you a real one. It's not how this works. Don't go there and reward stereotypical behavior. Maybe, you know what? Yeah, this is tenet number 2. For us, if somebody wants to be one of the BMPTs of either stripe, we will either orient them so that they can actually fit the definition, or get them in touch with someone of the stripe they want so that they can be oriented to fit the definition. This is it. So we will not have somebody that says, yeah, man, I'm looking to leave America. I'm looking to just get out, man. And we just say, oh, yeah, man, get your passport. Go. Knowing that he's trifling. Or knowing that he does not know. Instead, we will say to them, well, do you know where you want to go? And do you know what to at least avoid doing? That's what we would do. And if they say, yeah, man, I'm ready to join the passport, bro, say, okay, let me get you in touch with some of them so that you'll know exactly what it entails, what not to do. And this way you won't mess anything up for you or anybody else. And that's if you're not a passport bro, but you're one of the other stripes. If you're a passport bro and you know the tenets, hook them up. But that's tenet number 2, is that you will let them know what not to do, and you'll get them in touch with someone of the stripe they want to join so that they can know what to do to actually fit the definition of a member of that particular stripe. This is important. Then again, I say that about every one of my messages. Sorry. So I think this is going on long enough. Thank you for being patient with me. I mean that. This is one of those things that I really hope helps somebody. As always, Black heart, Black mind, Black out, Assalamu alaikum, Black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it in Black patriarchy until extinction and judgment day. Thank you for flying again with me here on Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender, justice, forever.